We love our pets. They're more than just companions, they're our friends. And they're part of our families. They bring us joy and laughter, especially when we really need it.
Good boy. Stay.
They're patient.
Stay. 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 Okay, clean.
They're also very intelligent. They can also be little terrors that dig up your yard, and we know who did this. We'll do just about anything to protect them because it hurts when something bad happens. It definitely hurts on that final day that we lose them, regardless of how much we prepare for that day. Cody is a great travel companion. He absolutely loves being in the Jeep, whether he's hanging out the window trying to grab a brush along a trail or just relaxing at a campsite. At night, he likes to be in the Jeep in what I think he perceives as his bed by 8 p.m. This is late March 2023. Cody and I met up with my friend Rob's in Arizona. Everything was going great. Cody seemed a little bit sluggish at times. He had gained some weight and had pancreatitis the previous month. But he was doing his thing, and he was hanging out the window and enjoying the trails, and there just seemed to be no signs of any problems. Other than maybe sleeping a little more soundly than normal. I just thought that meant he was happy. And I think he was. A few days after Cody and I got back home, ironically it was April 1st, Carrie and I noticed Cody bumping into things and couldn't seem to see his toys. It looked like he couldn't tell where he was, so we got some little bits of food and we threw it on the floor and noticed he couldn't find it visually. He had to sniff it out. At the age of 9, it's a little early to be going blind, so I called our vet and rushed him over there. Our vet examined him and basically advised that there was nothing that he could physically see as being the cause, and he recommended an animal ophthalmologist. So I called a couple different ones and was able to get an appointment within a few days. And meanwhile, I began researching and came across a condition called SARDS, sudden acquired retinal degeneration. Although very little was known about it, it happens in about 1 out of 4,000 dogs. It causes pancreatitis, weight gain, liver and kidney issues, some of which he had recently experienced. And those can all be treated, but the one thing that can't be treated and is considered irreversible is the permanent loss of vision. So at this point, I knew what the ophthalmologist was going to tell me, and he did. And he also advised that it is irreversible. But I couldn't accept that, and I began doing more research. I did find a couple of veterinarians who had had some success with dogs regaining their vision after having SARDS. One was in Texas, but unfortunately he had recently passed away. And there was another doctor out in the state of Iowa. So I continued doing research on that particular veterinarian, and the cost of the treatment was about $2,000, and I knew the odds were against us, but I also knew that I would have more regret not trying than regret of the cost. So I made the arrangements, and less than a month later, Cody and I were on our way to Iowa. We enjoy the travel part anyway, even if it is on pavement, but this one was going to be a little different. If we were going to do this right, we'd have to start this just like any other overland adventure. Just stop and get a couple donuts. Don't worry, Cody gets his too. Not a donut, but his normal treat. Our friends Jack and Cheryl were out of town, but they were gracious enough to allow us to stay the night at their place the first night as we were passing through Arizona. On our way to Iowa, we chose to take the low road. We passed through Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri. Final destination, Iowa.
New Jersey on Ozzy's Boneyard with the hard and hip classics. The music video for this next song.
We found a really nice campground near Hiawatha called Wanatee Park. If you're ever in the area, I highly recommend it. As a matter of fact, this area of Iowa was really nice pretty much everywhere. I was really impressed. Of course, I was there in the spring, so the weather was good. But we really enjoyed the stay. Cody took a well-deserved snooze after the trip. So he didn't have to drive, so I'm not sure why he was so tired. You may have noticed that as a good pet owner, I typically keep Cody on a leash. Part of that reason is because before he lost his eyesight, anything that moved he would attack, whether it be a bug, a spider, a lizard, pretty much anything that he might think looks appetizing. Of course, I also don't want him chasing after squirrels or coyotes or anything like that, so it's just safer to keep him on a leash. The next day, we made our way over to the clinic to speak with the vet and see about the treatment. I didn't film much here. Again, I didn't expect that we would be sharing any of this, but I did film a little bit while we were waiting for the doctor to come in. This was an unfamiliar place for him, so obviously he was a little bit nervous. But with the procedure, he did very well. Didn't have any issues. It was basically an injection into each eye, and then follow up with medication. He had to wear his little helmet there afterward, just to make sure that he doesn't rub or scratch onto his eyes. So we basically kept it on for about 24 hours, and then I was able to take it off and then just keep an eye on him. The next day we went to Maquoketa Cave State Park. I was just trying to find a place to go, something to see while we were out there, and we wanted to wait a couple days after the procedure before we left. So we went here, and it's a pretty neat place. I'd like to go back and explore a little bit more. This particular time I had to carry Cody through a lot of it, but it was fun. There's a lot more to see here than what I'm able to show. We were only here for a few hours, and I believe it said that this particular park had more caves than any other state park, so it was pretty huge. So tonight is our last night in Iowa, and as you can see, Cody's sound asleep. It is raining tonight. It started about probably around 6 o'clock. Well, off and on earlier this afternoon, but pretty steady since 6 o'clock, and now it's coming down pretty good, so I guess we're definitely in for the night. It's about running up on 9 o'clock, and we're just laying in bed, watching some TV, and fall asleep. The next morning we packed up and made our way toward Denver, Colorado. As we were passing through Nebraska, we received a couple of tornado warnings on the cell phone, telling us to take cover. And there they are. Quite a distance from us, fortunately. Cody was a little concerned, but we passed his trading post and kept on moving. Up ahead, one of my favorite parts of this trip, the Colorado Rockies. And if you've never driven through the Colorado Rockies, I highly recommend it. Of course, I recommend you just get in your vehicle and go and see the entire country. Now, if you recall, when we did our trip across Route 66, I had this fascination for bridges. On this trip, I seem to have a fascination for tunnels. Cody has yet to regain any of his sight. Sometimes you wouldn't even know it. I've even had people tell me it looks like he can see. He'll follow you with his eyes. His strong senses seem to make it a lot easier for him to get around without vision. He seems very happy. He plays with his toys. Of course, they have the smell of food in them. He still loves traveling in the Jeep, although not as active as he used to be, hanging out the window and grabbing at brush. He mostly lays between the seats next to me along the center console. We continue to have a great time together wherever we go.
Ready for lunch? Are you ready for lunch? Cody, do you want dinner? Do you want dinner? Do you want dinner? Huh? Do you want dinner? You want to go for a ride? 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 Yeah?
He also gets around the house really well. He does bump into things from time to time, but he really knows the layout. We've set up his entry and exit so that he can climb up the steps and go down the ramp in the back. And he knows his way in and out of the house, front yard, backyard. Even when we go traveling places, we go to Airbnb, and he figures out the lay of the house, indoors, outdoors, pretty quick when we get there. So he knows his way around. Every once in a while, he'll miss his mark a little bit, but he figures it out and gets to where he wants to be.